Hello there. Today is a pretty good example as we wind towards the end of 5 by 5. I think we've got this episode and then another 4 before we reach episode 55. It should take us into next week. I'm not, as I said many times, I'm not stopping 5 by 5 entirely. It's just changing the format. So, it'll only be once or twice a week. Twice, I'm thinking at the moment. But again, that's subject to change. And the reason for that is because today is a perfect example of why I'm winding it down. So earlier on today, I got up, I had my shower and things, and I spent a large part of the early part of the day, I checked through my emails, which is one of the first things I always do. And I spent an early part of the day just editing, finishing together a little edit for a YouTube video that's going up at the weekend, as I normally do throughout the week. And then, I stopped, I had something to eat, a little bit of something to eat, and I've been working on clipping together some demos. And the demos are for a company I'm not really allowed to name. I've signed an agreement, so I'm not really allowed to name them. But they're not really an agency, but they're a company that gets little bits of work for me, and you have to upload certain demos of certain things to get certain types of work. The problem is, where I've done those parts of work, right, I've done them here at home, or, excuse me, or more often than not, the things that I've done myself for other companies, and I put together, I save them for my demo reel, right? But when you have a demo reel, it's usually compressed. It's equalized in such a way that you haven't got little clicks and bits. Yeah, you've edited all that out, but then you've compressed it. A compression wave usually it basically evens out the quiet bits and the loud bits, so that you haven't got to keep adjusting the volume. So you haven't got high peaks that clip and then low. So you shouldn't have any of that anyway once you get used to your microphone. But you almost all voiceover artists that I've ever heard of at least add a tiny bit of compression to sort of even out the loud and the quiet parts. So I was doing that, and the problem is that, like I said, I don't very often keep those files. I don't keep the raw files. I keep the compressed, which is the bare minimum of stuff that I do to it, and I usually keep the compressed files. So I've had to look at re-recording some of these sections, and then I've gone digging through for the files that I do have the raw files for before I added any compression or anything like that, and I've started clipping those out and adding little 30-second bits to try and get some work through this company. But then I said, well, I'll do that till 7. Well, it's now like 7:30, and I just finished doing that for the time being. I haven't actually finished, but I just finished doing that for the time being, and uploaded one of these files. And Amki says to me, "Have you nearly finished?" Because of course she hasn't finished her work for the day. And I said, yeah. And then no, bloody hell. I said, no, because I've got to do my 5 by 5 now, once I've completely forgotten to do it. So, that's another, 5-10 minutes to record it. But with putting it online and sharing it and everything like that and editing it down so that, I haven't got 10 seconds on either end once I've asked about with the focus and all the stuff that I've talked about before that I have to do, it's just, it takes a lot of time. And it'll take the better part of an hour. So, I thought, well, I'll just spend a little bit of time with Aya at the end of the day before I do anything else, before she goes to bed. But yeah, this is going to eat into a large portion of that. So, this is a good reason why I need to sort of clip this off, because where I can, need to focus on the other channel, the video game channel. So yeah, it's been a really, really good example of why I'm doing that. This company that I've actually started submitting stuff to now, demos, I had to read through their legal agreement last night. Oh, that took me about part of an hour to skim through their legal. Well, I actually read it as carefully as I can, but an awful lot of times these things don't particularly go in and stay in. So yeah, I've gone through their agreement, and I'm sending up these little bits of demos and things. And it's nice that today I figured out that I finally sort of, for the first time in my life, actually getting to the place where I want to be career-wise. Relationship-wise, I'm where I want to be now. And now I'm getting towards the place I want to be career-wise. YouTube is now earning me money. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a very, 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 very small amount of money at the moment. It's almost nothing. So, it's just an extra little bit of income, you know, that I can use for video games that I've used for the channel and stuff. But I'm getting into towards the direction that I want, you know, voiceover wise and writing wise. So, you know, we'll see where we go from here, and I'll keep you posted. But this will change, of course.